I'm going to also take notes. So please don't take that as a sign of disrespect. I'll be kind of jotting down notes because I'm really counting on your feedback. And one of the reasons that I wanted to hear from everyone is because, like I said, one of my roles is Lions Quest Program Development and Evaluation Specialist. So even as I take on this role, I still have several projects that we're doing with the Lions Quest program, where what we typically do is try to pilot um, some different models of program implementation. A lot of my work has been around community and school partnerships where we're doing Lions Quest in the community and after school programs with departments of juvenile justice, with child welfare. So we try to make sure that we're able to bring SEL to children in all of those spaces. I am also a member of the Lions Quest Advisory Committee. It's sort of a de facto position because I'm a staff member, but the Lions Quest Advisory Committee meets a couple of times a year. It is a function of the executive board where we do engage with our Lions and leadership around program changes, around changes to policy around the Lions Quest program, and we go there to get approval for large scale changes or changes to the program, to the curriculum, or to the grant process. As I mentioned, I am now also taking on the role of educational program specialist for constitutional areas 1 and 2. I'm also a member of a cross LCI and LCIF committee around improving membership satisfaction. And I'm also sit with other program specialists from LCI and LCI that specifically work with constitutional area 1. And one of the things that I can share with everyone is that um, the concept around bridging some connections between LCIF and LCI is something that the association is really putting a lot of effort behind. So even with our program, Lions Quest, we're seeing so many opportunities to work with other departments to make sure that you guys, as our champions and the people who are the face of the program in the community, my job at this point, whether it's temporary or not, is to make sure that you guys have what you need as you play your part in advancing the program. So it kind of goes into three categories. One is empowering Lions as SEL champions. A lot of the feedback that I got from the survey really kind of talked about, your role as being able to have these conversations about the benefits of the program when you're talking to schools or when you're talking to other Lions in your district. And, we want to make sure that we're empowering you all to not only serve as folks who can carry the message that we have these awesome curriculums and materials, but even as the landscape of SEL changes and we see it being used in a lot of areas, we want to make sure that we're able to empower champions to emerge in those areas as well. And overall, I think something that we can all agree on is that we want to improve access to quality SEL programs for at risk communities. And another thing that was a trend with respect to some of the feedback that I got from the survey was, how do we not make the work that we do feel like a one and done? How do we continue to support our schools and our communities with the Lions Quest program? And so, with that being said, I wanted to just kind of just go through the chat box here. Let me get my spectacles. I see we've got oh wow, we've got a good list of people. Hello, Lion Joanne from Canada. We've got Lion Cheryl from MB and NWON. Can you Lion Cheryl, can you let me know what that means, please? And we have Lion Lucy from Alberta and Lion Martin from MD22. Hey, I'm in MD22. Good to see you. And we've got Lion Brad and Lion Janet and Lion Bill and Lion David. Let's see. Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario, Canada. I'm so glad my CA2 people are here. That's going to be a big learning curve for me. So I really appreciate you taking the time out and joining us on today. So I wanted to just kind of give a start. And one of the things that we do, and I apologize, I don't have all my bells and whistles because the Ring Central is not as user friendly as the Zoom. But just kind of a quick question. Um, has anyone ever felt like the number Z? You just have one of those days where you feel like the number Z or the letter 3. And you can come off of mute to say, what is that? Or give me an answer.
Absolutely.
Hey, Lion Janet, give me a little bit of feedback there.
Working with some of the schools, and they call you and they want you to come and do all these Quest programs and everything, and then you get there and they go, oh, we forgot. We weren't going to have you come tonight because now we're not interested anymore.
Oh,
And it's like, okay, people, just let's all get our act together here and
yeah,
be on the
yeah,
same page.
yeah. I can definitely relate to that. Just showing up, you're there at the right time in the right place, and everything has changed. That's kind of how I felt when we were getting ready to go with some things and COVID hit, and it was like, okay, back to the drawing board. Anyone else want to comment? Okay. So, one of the things that I wanted to kind of open up the gate with, speaking of COVID, I know that COVID is everywhere. And with us trying to go into the schools with Lions Quest, just kind of thinking about you guys and the experiences that you've had. If you could share with me some of the challenges that you're seeing with respect to moving the program forward and COVID, and maybe how the schools in your community are either rejecting, modifying, or embracing.
Hear me, Kim?
Hello, Lion Kimberly. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Good to hear you.
I would just like to say, being a school district, this is our second year.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off, but Dr. Young, can you introduce us and tell us what club you're with?
So I'm Dr. Tamara Young. I'm with Calumet City's Lion Club, District 1A, and I'm proud to be a part of the Lions Club community. I started off just looking at the Lions Quest program and really enthused about the whole process. My background is in social work, and so I've always had the mindset of looking at children in a holistic approach, not just academically. And when we came into this COVID pandemic, it really made people have to start thinking about the holistic approach, the social emotional part of the child, as well as the academics. Now we are all seeing that it all comes together. And so, with that being said, this is our second year with Lions Quest, and it started off as a challenge because we were used to presenting the information and the material to the students in the classroom. Well, most of us are now remote, and so we had to figure out ways to adjust the baseline of the program that we already had and deliver the information and proceed with the activities remotely. So I hired an outside consultant to come in and talk to my teachers about delivering the information that we already have through the Lions Quest program remotely, because there's a difference between instructing inside of a classroom and instructing remotely. And so we had to adapt to the circumstances that we're in right now.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Young. Can you give us a couple of ideas of what some of the differences were that you guys saw in terms of doing it remotely versus in person?
Well, you can now look at what you have around you. The activities that we are using now, children can find within their household, or programs we may take outside, have the children to go explore things in their yard. So we're getting them more involved in things in their surrounding, as opposed to us just working within the classroom with the activities. So I think with this COVID, it has opened our minds to looking at things differently, thinking outside the box. The activities that we are doing now is more collaborative. We're working more with our community and community projects, as opposed to us just working within the classroom, following the guidelines within the Lions Quest journals and programs that we have, the kits, the teachers' kits. We now can look outside the box and start looking at what we have around us. Real life application is what we've been doing with the children.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much. And this is 1A. Anybody else having any updates or things that they're doing a little bit differently with COVID as well?
Yeah, I have, Kim.
Yes.
So this is Had from District 22, Bellefonte Lions. So we've been fortunate, when COVID hits, our school got shut down. But our Bellevue community, when we had summer camp. So we participated. We did a program in summer camp. So we were able to do that. And we were able to use the time to do a cyber club to get youth that we'll be able to do it, to roll it in fall and winter. So get this kid. So we have been connecting with the homeschool group. We have 40 kids that we'll be going to be working with, and also with the cyber club. So we're just trying to think outside the box and reach out, because school is close to us.
Yeah. Have they started talking about, I know I'm here in Illinois, so I can pretty much follow school openings here, but in Delaware, are they having any conversations about reopening schools?
I think some are half and half, some are strictly Zoom.
Okay. Okay. And so I'm just curious, are you guys, I know Dr. Young is in the school, are you in communication with any schools, or is it just in the community? Hyatt.
So our school is not, so just strictly in the community. Our school have not, because the kids are on Zoom all day long. So one additional thing that has not been open to us. So.
Okay. So I don't know if we've got anybody from CA2 is this similar to what you guys are experiencing? You can come off of mute.
I was waiting. It's Joanne from Lions Quest Canada.
Hi.
I was waiting for some of my people who are on here to jump in, but nobody is. So I can share a little bit. Lucy would be a great person because she works at the Faculty of Ed at a university, so she can say what's going on. Lucy, can I tag you? And Janet, I think you have some things to share too.
Sorry, Joanna. It's been an emotional day for me. I taught my last class today to my practicum students, and they're going to be going out in the field, and there are 524 schools right now that have outbreaks in Alberta. I have a little contest with my practicum students. If they use Lions Quest in their classroom, I taught a 2-hour session on Lions Quest with Dr. Bright, who is our faculty dean of education. And she used Lions Quest when she was a new teacher, and of course is now at the university. So we did a 2-hour session. We only had about 40 students because it was just, it was my class and someone else's class. So we have 40 students right now that know about Lions Quest. Got a contest going on. I have a couple of students that are up north of Alberta, and Suzanne has some resources there, so they're contacting her to get Lions Quest resources in there. As far as schools in Alberta or in southern Alberta trying to get responses from teachers, as the chair, I'm not having any luck. These were schools that were interested pre-COVID, but right now, I think most of the focus for the administrators and the teachers is just keeping the school open and dealing with outbreaks in certain sections of the school. And that seems to be the priority right now. Our area has really, Alberta is averaging about 600 to 700 cases a day now. So that is a lot for our area. So that's my update.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, and I would expect that everybody's gonna have, because this COVID it's
Yeah,
a game changer for us. It really is, you know.
it is. And I see as a teacher myself, and it's really hard to try and talk to these teachers and say, if you do go online, these are great little lesson plans to include on your online teaching. But right now, their focus is just keeping their class going and taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a kind of a different take on this.
Okay.
In 22A, which is the area around Baltimore, one of the principals contacted Lions Quest to ask about the program.
Okay.
And they did not have any funding in 22A. They didn't even have a chair in 22A to run Lions Quest. But they were able to get one of the clubs to donate enough money to buy booklets for K through 4th grade. And they are working to do the program because they are meeting every day.
Okay.
It's a parochial school, and the parochial schools in the Archdiocese of Baltimore, there's at least 2 in the program, and we are hoping to have others join us because they are in school.
They're in person in school, or
Yes, they're in person in school. There are some that are also online, and the teachers are actually teaching for lack of Teams or Zoom or something to some students, and then the others are in the classroom, socially distanced and everything. I went to one of the schools because I've got that school in Baltimore and another one in Frederick, Maryland. And you don't want to show up at the end of the day because the parents are picking up the kids because there are no buses, and the parking lots are filled with people, and the kids go out to their parents, and it all works out quite well. But the biggest problem I have is starting in 22A, going from 0 to being able to purchase the materials. 22W has a school, and they had done it before, but we were still able to purchase materials, and we are going to combine the 2 schools in one training on Wednesday. And we're hoping to have some other people from the Archdiocese, from St. Agnes, another school, come in. The parochial schools in the inner cities and in the suburban areas of the cities are not the rich people. They are parents who can't afford a program like this. So the Lions Club stepping up to help is really a big deal for them.
Mhm.
But we've had, I'm counting it as a beginning of a success.
It sounds good. I know I can say that even from my experience and on the development side, you know, right now we are hearing a lot of conversation, not only about the physical impact of COVID, but we're also seeing a lot of conversation about, you know, rise in suicide, rise in hospitalizations for young people that are ended up in mental health hospitals, rise in addiction, just a rise in all those risky behaviors where they may not say the name Lions Quest, but all of the things that a Lions Quest program could mean to a school, could mean to a community is what we're hearing is what's needed. So I agree. Thank you so much, Lion Martin. And I'll definitely want to kind of check back with you on that to see how things are going in the Baltimore area. I know that just even outside of some of the work that I do here, I know there's a lot of effort coming out of Baltimore around poverty and a lot of different things going on with respect to equity and education. And so there may be some ways that we can uh, put you in connection with some of those entities and see if we can't get some things flowing down there. So thank you for adding that to the conversation. That was
There's one other comment that the principal at Our Lady of Victory pointed out to me that I did not know. He is using it as part of the religion program. Last time I checked, Lions Quest is not religious, but it does build character. It does give the right moral, whatever it is, and they actually are using it as part of their religion program.
You know, Lion Martin, you just sent me back 10 years to when I was a young girl in high school and I went to a Catholic school and we had religion. And now that I think about it, we had the religion part of it, but you're right. It was just a lot of life skills and character education. Very
So,
interesting. That'll
so
definitely be
it,
something interesting to follow.
yeah, the plan here is to kind of use this as two different pilot programs and see how we can expand. And then we'll come back and ask for help with funding, but right now it's let's see if it works.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, you know, and this is for anybody. If you've got something that's on the line like that, you know, you can definitely call up to the office or shoot me an email and, you know, we can kind of talk through some things to see, you know, for where you are now, if we can give you some support at this point to start building something for a larger scale implementation. So you don't necessarily have to wait until the school is you know has a purchase order in. If they're already working with you, then we can definitely look at how we may be able to help you bridge that gap. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'll talk to Jim Katzman. He's the governor in that district, and he's very interested.
Okay, good, good. That's always a good sign. That's always a good sign. So I have someone else that may want to share.
Well, I would like to. My name is David Hubman. I'm the Multiple District 20 New York and Bermuda Lions Quest Chair. I'm also an immediate past district governor. So it's been, I was also an educator for 35 and a half years, everything from teacher to guidance counselor to superintendent. And I certainly see the value in Lions Quest. Our issue, well, there are several issues, and you know, prior to COVID, I think just communication, getting in the door to sit down with superintendents or principals or, curriculum coordinators, those kinds of folks, was an issue. I know we have a huge program on Long Island, and there's a really big, there was a huge grant that was given to the folks on Long Island. They're going crazy on Long Island with it. But, we have schools that are, like someone shared earlier, I mean, principals and teachers are, having difficulty just connecting with kids. So, we have several different kinds of things that are going on, but there certainly is a value to this. So my understanding is there's a new online version that's either in development stages or is coming out. And Kimberly, I certainly appreciate you doing this, because this is I've been the Lions Quest chair for 3 years. This is the first time I've ever been even connected with, LCI or Lions Quest. I know Kimberly, we worked on a big program last year, but having this type of conversation is very, very helpful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for joining. Yeah, I think it's I know for me, when I'm stepping into something new, I like to kind of get a little feedback from as many people as I can. So trust me, you are as helpful to me as I am to you. So I appreciate the feedback. So yeah, I am a little bit familiar with Long Island. I've gone out there to work with now of course I can't remember the lady's name. John Fretz, Lion John. And what they do is, and I don't quote me on the nuances, but what they do is they partner with their BOCES, their regional educational training center, and the last I checked, they were running a couple of things where they did like a regional training so that if schools were interested and maybe they hadn't already bought in, that they could send one or two teachers to a training, and those teachers would get the kit and the materials, and they could maybe try them out. And then hopefully the ideal is that if those couple of teachers get the resources and they like it, then they will become champions in their school building. So they've been really good. We also did a Harvard study on Long Island with a couple of the school districts there. We really got some phenomenal feedback in terms of being able to look at some of the things that are happening once the program goes into the schools. How are the teachers receiving it? How are the parents receiving it? How is it fitting into the larger school curriculum, into the larger school atmosphere? So that is something that, we'll continue to kind of share on as well. So also just to kind of clarify, we do have coming out in the very near future, hopefully by the end of the year, the beginning of the year, we will be offering an ebook. So the hardback printed materials, as we've all come to know and love, those will be going away. The plan is to sell down what's in the warehouse so that if schools or if grants that are active are needing to reorder materials, we'll be able to send those out. I'm sorry, yes, Joanne reminded me, not in Canada. She's sticking with print for now. Thank you. Um, and so that will be available. Let me clarify, in the US, because of course those things have to go through translations and other things when they get spread across internationally. Right now, I know we are doing virtual workshops. I know that Lions Quest Canada is doing virtual workshops. And so, these are some things that for us here in the US are pretty new, and so we're getting feedback on that. And I think, for one, I think that this, whether schools go back to hybrid or remain virtual, or where no one really knows, but I do think that for us, we are taking it very seriously to look at how do we fit in this new space, and how can we sort of forge ahead in this new space. And that's really one of the reasons that I wanted us to be able to kind of have some time to talk now. And I see Lion Cheryl. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. You should be able to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. Hi. Cheryl? Are you able, Cheryl? I'm sorry. You wanted to. Oh, let's see. I see you, but I can't hear you. Okay. And so, okay, so while Cheryl, I don't know, maybe, oh, you put yourself on mute again. So while we kind of work through a little bit of technical difficulties, and this happens to the best of us, I had a question about how to connect with and schedule virtual workshops. So the scheduling of the workshops, you would go through the same process as you would a traditional workshop. If you are looking to secure grant funds to host the workshops, then you can, do any of the applications. You've got the promotional grant application, you've got the community partnership, and the program humanitarian grant. And if it's just a straight workshop, and whether maybe your club has funds and you want to possibly just pay for that out of your pocket, the new cost on the virtual workshops is a little bit lower. So we do have some clubs that have actually pay for those out of their own club funds, but that will come straight through our office. Unless you're in CA2, then that will go through Lions Quest Canada.
Kimberly, can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Okay, so it's Lion Cheryl McKittrick from 5M13, which is Manitoba, Canada. I'm also a past district governor and been on the board of directors for Lions Quest Canada for about 8 years, representing Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario. So I just wanted to say a couple of things as I've been listening to everybody, and it's awesome to be all across the US and Canada together in these COVID times. We have been having district chair meetings since March with our Canadian Lions Quest chairs for about every 2 to 3 weeks. And that really has gotten us, or I think our Lions Quest chairs would agree, to really get us motivated. We would have fallen into a real slump right now through COVID. And so that has been a plus for us. Okay. 5M13 has done very well. We've spoke at teachers training days. We've been invited by the division, the school divisions to come and speak. So we have taken some very big strides in 5M13. And another thing that we have done, and it's our First Nation communities, which is our Indigenous people, and we have actually got Lions Quest in some of their schools, which is a real plus in the last 2 years, and particularly the last year. So that's a plus for us. We've been doing virtual training. Lion Joanne McQuiggan and they've been doing virtual training that has been received very positively. There was actually 3 teachers from my own school in my little town that took the virtual training. So I think verbally and word of mouth and using the program in the schools is going to help it move forward. Another thing that we have done is our district has applied for an LCIF grant. and we received it. Thank you very much. 15,000 that was US, which is nice Canadian funds for us, was just dropped into our bank account the other day. So we have partnered and with the Brandon University, which is our second biggest city in Manitoba, next to Winnipeg, which is our capital. And we've partnered with them, and we have actually purchased from this grant the programs for K to 8, and they're going to work and have their teachers that are students coming out in the next year when they graduate in the spring, that will already have taken the virtual training and already have looked at the courses, and then we're giving them a certificate so that when they do get a job and are in grade 1 or grade 8 or whatever it happens to be, they can get the program for that particular year, the curriculum. So I just wanted to share that I think we're very positive, and there are a lot of positive things in Manitoba.
I
So
like
thank you
that.
for letting.
And you were my first approval that Kim walked me through.
Oh,
So
perfect. Well,
yeah.
thank you for that funding. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't
Well,
do it without you.
congratulations. So let me ask you a question. So now you guys are partnering with the university, and so as the students are coming through university, they're taking the Lions Quest training as part of their credit course.
Right, correct. They're
Oh,
going to be
nice.
doing the virtual training in January, actually, because we had a Zoom meeting last week. Joanne McQuigan, myself, and Lion Gwen Argue, that's on the call today. We had a call with the coordinator of the university, and he thought that January, sort of the change of the term when they start fresh, was better than to be doing it now or in early December. So they will be doing their virtual training in January.
Okay. Okay. That's really sharp. You guys are doing good work. Thank you. Yeah, that's really
Yes.
sharp.
Well, thank you to LCIF, or we wouldn't have been able to offer funds to help get those curriculums into that university.
And so then once the student graduates and goes into teaching, they use the certificate to get a set of materials for their grade level.
Right, right.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Okay. Okay. Do we
Yeah.
have that's really good. I'm taking notes. I'm taking
Good.
notes.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak, because we're quite proud of how far we've come in the last, I want to say, 2 years, maybe 3. But I was, Lion Gwen and I were slapped in the face many times, the same as people have spoken today. But
Yes.
now we're getting more favorable receptance when we talk about Lions Quest. And so, yeah, we're happy with the strides we've made, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I could tell you a million no's before I got to the one yes, and it just makes that yes so much more worth it. So thank you so much. Now
Okay,
do
good.
I? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, I'm
So,
good. I'm finished.
oh, thank you very much. So, that kind of covers a little bit that we also segue into, because I know that a lot of times, the work that we do is a lot of the work that we do is really, can we get these workshops scheduled? And I did mention, and you guys can kind of give me a thumbs up or let me know, but did everybody know that there was a virtual training that was available? And I think, and not to put you on the spot, Joanne, you're kind of my unofficial co-host. Because now, have you guys, Joanne, have you guys been doing the virtual training pre-COVID? I know you have the one piece that they need to do online first.
Right. No, we did not. We had virtual training on our radar and in our work plan and something we were going to do and had to move forward with it quite quickly because of COVID. And we still just launched it a couple of weeks ago. So we've had 3
Oh.
workshops now. But the training in Canada, they watch a webinar for an hour before they attend the workshop. That is background information. Here's what the program is. Here are the program components. Here's what a lesson looks like, and some information on social emotional learning. So it's about an hour-long webinar that covers both of those topics. And then there's some pre-work. So we ship them their material, and they have to actually look through the material and do some reflection on the instructional strategies piece, as well as on the general material overview. So we have an online classroom setting where they go in and they post those reflection comments on the webinar, on the material, and on the instructional strategies. Then they come together for a 2-hour workshop with a couple of us online. We've done, as I said, 3, and we've just scheduled 7 more in the next couple of months, 8 more actually. So we are more than happy to share that webinar. I can, Kim just asked if we could share. I'm more than happy, Kim. I'll send you the link, and because you've got the list of the U.S. people. It's not up on our website yet. I just haven't had time to get it posted, but more than happy to share that pre-workshop. It's an overview we did as a promotional piece. So it was a public, and we actually had a few US people on, I think I sent to you. And then so they come into that workshop, and so it's more of an interactive time. And Janet's on here. Janet Marison is one of our trainers who's facilitated one of those sessions for us. So I don't know if Janet wants to jump in, because we heard great things from the workshop participants about how they could use the program right now.
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah, it was exciting actually, because we hadn't done it virtually before, and we had teachers that were actually taking it in their classroom. The students were somewhere else, and we also had teachers who are teaching from home virtually, and great discussions about how they would be able to use the materials virtually, and the evaluations at the end were every bit as good and positive and excited as they usually are at the end of an ordinary in-person workshop. It was exciting to realize, and they all did their homework beforehand. We had some doubt that maybe they just would show up, but it was obvious that they had taken the time to do the pre-reading. And I don't know that I'd ever want to go back to teaching across Canada again.
Now that was something I didn't expect. Really? Huh. I'll be honest, I have grown quite fond of the Zoom experience myself. And I do miss the travel a little bit, but I didn't have as much. My travel schedule probably wasn't that of a Quest trainer. But that's interesting. It's interesting to know that people are just as engaged online as they would have been in person. And I'm curious to the U.S. people, were you all aware that there was a virtual workshop that is available in the U.S.? It hasn't, this kind of came about post-COVID. Okay, I think Janet, we're getting
not know in her different.
Janet, I don't know if maybe your bandwidth is a little low. If you can type your comment in the box, and maybe we can do it that way. So I'm just curious if anybody, and I know we've got a lot of people with their cameras off, but were you all aware that there was an online training available in the U.S.?
This is Martin in Maryland. Yes, I was available. I was aware of it, and now we have it scheduled for Wednesday.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
And that's the training that Penny provided
Yes.
for the steering committee and, well, in my district, my steering committee.
Yes.
Yes. So I had an opportunity to actually sit in on bits and pieces of it, some of the training, but I had my teachers to go to it.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so, oh, okay. So, yeah, so the kind of for me figuring out how to make sure people get updated on a regular basis, and so that when we do things here, that you guys have that information as soon as possible. So yes, there is a virtual workshop that's available that can be offered to your schools. It can be offered to folks that are running after school programs. I know one of the things that we're seeing, and I think that your feedback kind of confirms this, is that, if schools are not, if the schools aren't already embracing the relationship to add the curriculum in, which now they're sort of a semester into this, and maybe even in some places going back and forth between hybrid and in school, you have other spaces that may want to pick up the slack and may want to start doing a program in support of the schools. Are there any after school programs? And I can tell you that, because a lot of my work that I did before kind of picking this up was around working with Lions who were having partnerships with other community organizations. We are not the only ones having this struggle. Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, your park districts, your libraries, your after school programs, they could all use a friend. And I think that you'll find, when you start having a conversation with them about the insides of the program, and you start having these conversations about building resilience in young people, helping them to manage their emotions, helping them to build safe and supportive relationships, it's hard for somebody to turn away from that. And sometimes schools are overwhelmed, and maybe these are conversations that can be had in an after school setting, as long as they're willing to implement the program, as long as they're willing to come to the training, and do it with fidelity. We don't want to just bring people on board that don't have honest intentions, but we can work with them. We can work with them, and we can work with you to also make sure that they are doing the program to the best of their ability, and work with you all to provide them the support that they need to kind of overcome some of this COVID crisis. It's been a struggle for everyone. So just kind of thinking, and I know this is kind of a loaded question, because you've kind of got pre-COVID where, some things are just absolute, and now we're in sort of mid-COVID where I think everybody, we like to say we're building a plane while it's in the air. But I'm just curious and thinking about, especially some of you all that have been able to work with LCIF and work with the Quest department, in terms of some of the resources that we have been able to provide. Was there anything that you found particularly helpful? Or I think at this point, maybe even more appropriate, what do you wish you had right now?
I think
More meetings like this. Seriously, this has been fabulous, because there's so many things that we don't know, at least speaking for myself, that I've learned tonight. One of the things I've learned is I think I want to move to Canada, but because they seem to be doing some great things. So more meetings like this, or some type of listservs so that we can share ideas or thoughts or something like that. This is the way the word gets spread between the leaders, or the champions, as you call them. So thank you.
Yes, I like that idea of a listserv. We do, and so there is sort of a listserv that we use through LCIF where we can kind of put in, Lions Quest chairpersons, and all of the Lions Quest chairpersons will get this particular communication. And I'll kind of, maybe I'll do a doodle poll or something, but I'm like you, Lion Dave. I like to see people kind of regularly, and, like even for me, the information that you guys are sharing with me as well are things that I'm like, okay, I'm writing down notes. So I'll definitely be open to doing something maybe every other month, and maybe kind of picking up, more information, as well as you guys that are having, being able to kind of work through these um, challenges. We're always looking for content. We're always looking for content that we can push out via social media, that we can, use on the website, quotes that we can use as we are also sort of trying to keep up with the demand for creating additional resources. So, it doesn't have to be a white paper or, anything that's 500 pages, but you can always shoot us stuff that we might be able to get out on the Lions Quest Lions Quest Facebook or Twitter. If you've got pictures or just things that you want to share. So always keep that in mind as well. And I see Lion, Dr. Young, you were gonna say something as well.
I was just going to say, because we already were using the curriculum prior to COVID, it made it easier for us to understand how important the role of SEL played in the school environment. And one of the things that we did coming back is we had our teachers to only teach that SEL curriculum the first month of school, because we knew that it was such a challenge for children to come back. They went through a crisis. The children, the teachers, the administration, and you through a crisis, you have to get therapy. You have to be able to address those situations and transition. And so we understood the importance of bringing in that SEL curriculum before you can start pushing that academics, because you cannot teach a child who's not ready. And so I think the COVID situation actually gives us a boost in being able to promote what it really is and how it really should be utilized, because this is something that we're still in. We're still in this crisis, and it's still very important, and we need to get to the schools, the community rec centers, and we need to really give them the information that they need about the program and how important it is, and how we're going to continue to build and develop as we get through this, because this is that mental health piece. And like I said, you can't do anything else. Your mind can't be focused on anything else if your mental mind is not ready. So I think this is the opportune time for us to get out and really show people what SEL is all about, the Lions Quest curriculum, and how we can integrate it into the many different programs that are already set forth in the educational setting, in the community, and for our families.
Yes. So let me ask you this, Dr. Young. Now, in terms of, kind of your experience as a school administrator, and my other school, folks, please chime in on this. So I'm a Lion, and I'm coming to you, and you've got your hands full. What is it that you need to hear from me that's going to let you sit? What can I say to, to the secretary that's going to say, hold on, I think Dr. Young wants to talk to you?
I think tapping into the mental health piece, because that's the major issue that everybody's talking about now: mental well-being and what self-care.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new buzzword, self-care, and this all ties into self-care. Even I understood that I needed to do something different with my staff. At every meeting since we have come back from COVID, and when I say come back, only my teachers are back in the building, not my children. I start all my meetings off with a self-care check-in. And everybody has to just give a synopsis of what are they doing today? What are they doing right now as a self-care piece for themselves? And in doing that, I can get feedback, and I get to understand some of the issues that my teachers are facing, not just at their workplace, but at home, because some of them are parents at home. And they're at home now teaching their children while they're trying to teach our children in the school. And so this gives us an opportunity to kind of see where they are and see what supports we can put in place for them. So that self-care and mental health piece is what a lot of the districts are looking for and striving to make sure that we are making those connections with our staff, not just our teachers, our whole entire staff. We're looking at self-care.
And I'll tell you, one of the ways that I've always talked about the Lions Quest program is sort of like, yes, the curriculum supports the children, and it's puts people and guides those conversations, but it also helps the teachers find sort of who they are in this space of now trying to have these difficult decisions with children. And anytime we can bring an administrator in and talk about, the impact on school climate, how can you collaborate, with your community. So if you have children, for example, the Lions Quest program, I have to say, I have to say, I'm a champion. And I believe in the program. I've personally, before I came here, I've worked with a lot of our competitors. I've gone into the schools as a health educator using one of our competitors, which is Botvin's Life Skills. I've used Too Good for Drugs. I've used the National Guard program, DARE. Lions Quest is the best, and I'll tell you why. Because with all of those other programs, we still had to figure out how to bring in parents. We still had to figure out how to connect the community with the school, because schools can't do it all. And when you're talking about going into communities that really need this program, 30 years ago, it was more of an option. It was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, we'll do it. Now you're looking at school systems, educational systems, state educational departments that are saying, no, you must do SEL. And it's not always just for academic achievement. Sometimes it is because there's some sort of this disparity in discipline or expulsion, or you've got graduation rates that are off, or you have just a whole host of issues that don't always get talked about through the lens of whether or not a kid passes social studies. This is about whether or not these kids are passing life. And so, being able as champions for us to feel comfortable to explore those conversations and to know the program that you're representing can actually support some of these larger efforts within the school system. That would be my hope, that if you guys are in front of someone who wants to do something for the kids, but they're just not sure, that you can keep that conversation going until you find out how you can make it fit. So I appreciate you, Dr. Young, for sharing that with me. I see Lion Dave got his hand up. Yes.
Kim, you mentioned earlier that you can go into the LCI program, and you can identify all of the Quest chairs in the Constitution area. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, and so I can tell you this. One of the things that so there's you guys kind of came in on the MD level. So a lot of people are multiple district chairs and some are just kind of not multiple district chairs, some champions. So I can go in and query the multiple district chairs and the district chairs. What I cannot locate, and don't hold me to that because I'm still figuring out the system, is who's representing the program at the club level, right? So we have the district level, which is a perfect segue. Thank you. David, I've got to send you something, Lion Dave. I'm gonna have to send you a prize. You and Joanne and Dr. Young, for you guys are like you're reading my agenda back here. But yes, I am maybe I can find that out by maybe tomorrow if I can query beyond multiple district and district level. Is that what you were asking about?
Actually, I would prefer to know like who's in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Hampshire, more of a northeast,
Like a region?
like a regional kind of connection, so that we can, because our directories in our multiple usually list Quest chairs. There's a lot of places in our state and our multiple that do not have Quest chairs.
Yeah.
So that's a struggle in itself.
Yeah, I found that out as well. I even some Lions and some district governors that I know, um, you know, didn't have a person in a formal position, but they had a champion. And so I've been kind of saying, hey, we're going to start having these meetings. So can you please appoint a chair so we can have somebody that can join us? So if you can email me, and maybe that's something that we could maybe help too. And I see and that might be something we can try to put together something regionally, but that's a great idea. And I see Dennis and I see SMN5. It looks like you had you unmuted yourself. Your name's not on there. It's just SM, the gentleman in the hat. Yes, that's you. Oh, okay. So Lion Dennis.
That's me.
Oh, well,
Hi, my name is Lion.
Go ahead, Lion Dennis. Thank you.
Somebody was talking. Anyway, my name is Denny Vinette. I'm from A15, which is in southern Ontario, Canada. A close neighbor, about 20 miles away from Joanne McGuigan, Lions Quest Canada, Executive Director. I was the Lions Quest Chair for 3 years. I explored a bunch of opportunities, but that would be visiting the past. What we have to do is deal with the present. And in the present, under COVID, the reach we have right now is a result of this very pandemic. We're all online here as a result of the challenges of getting communication. So this is wonderful that we can do this. But one of the concerns I've got, and I've always had this concern, is what relationship we maintain with the educators that are trained. I call them alumni. How many times have I visited a school where the principal has indicated to me, oh, yeah, I took that, or, oh, yeah, we used to do that 25 years ago. Now, the time lapse is important because the program did not evolve much over, as I understand it, over a long period of time. And in our area, it was deemed, I wouldn't say the word obsolete, but almost at the cusp of. And then there was this mass revision. And now we try to reintroduce this new version, this dynamic version, this grade-oriented, very focused program. And yet, Joanne has trained 25, 30 teachers in one school. And I fear that at this point, we don't have a connection with them. And if there was a way, and I'm sure Joanne knows who these people are, and I'm sure they're informed, but if there was a way to build dialogue between these people, especially as they move from one school to another, and they take their training and they take their materials, and then they're surrounded by either people who have had the training or have not had the training. So like Joanne once pointed out to me, train the best teachers, and when they take it with them, they'll also take the program. So we did that, we tried to do that. Is there a way that we could contemplate using technology like we have right here, right now, to build an alumni, to build a council of best practices amongst the users, a support group beyond the schools? I mean, we never thought we'd hold meetings this way,
Yeah.
but we do. So if there's a way to build an alumni and a relationship, cross the border. We're not allowed to go to the US and you're not allowed to come here, but we're here tonight.
Yes.
So maybe there's other opportunities like that where teachers who really believe in their hearts that the program has merit, more than merit, could be used as a catalyst for other teachers. Nothing I like more than to hear somebody who uses something and tell me what it is they like and what they don't and what we can do to work around it. Joanne has always been a wonderful trainer for the Lions in giving them the basic information that they require. The other aspect of this is for the people who have experienced it, who have used it, to come back and participate. I don't know, maybe a refresher, maybe just a sharing of experiences, but that there's these focus groups where we can have that. Now, like I said, I was chair for 3 years. Last year, I left the Lions Quest chair position to take on other roles. I mean, I'm not disappeared into the sunset. And sometimes I regret it because this program is so important and it's so important to me and to our communities. But all I'm going to tell you right now is we don't have one right now. And I think if in any way it could be bottom up, you know, we always talk about the Lions clubs and the members being at the core of organization. Well, maybe the teachers are that have been trained at the core of exposing and generating the interest. We struggle, we work hard to get there. So there's my speech for today, but I think the merit is in establishing relationships from the teachers to us and to maintain those relationships. And I don't know if it's happening or if it's not. Maybe I'm just talking too long. So anyway, as a past district governor, that can happen. So thank you very much. Okay.
I personally thought it was a very good idea. Just sort of staying out of a lot of trouble, but and sort of br- putting on my program development hat. And for me, program development does not only exist within the pages of a curriculum, it exists within each and every one of our roles and our potential to impact this program. And I think that, we have to also understand that COVID doesn't just impact the people that we're serving, it's impacting the way that we serve, you know. And I think that if we can continue for us to come together like this, I am sure that this probably will grow to where we will have to have it regionally because it will just overflow on this platform. But I do think that in terms of being able to first of all stay connected with the schools, some of the feedback that we get, especially from US Lions, is after that first workshop is held or after a series of annual workshops are held, what role can Lions play to have a sustainable relationship so that you are able to um, have access to these wonderful teachers who are potential Lions. these are potential members. These are potential people not only just on the outside, but I probably wouldn't have been a lion if it wasn't for Lions Quest. I don't think Dr. Young would have been a lion if it wasn't for Lions Quest. I mean, people get it's attractive. It's something that makes people want to join you, because you're hitting them at a space that touches their hearts and pulls on all the right emotions, and it motivates them to want to do more than they're paid to do. So I think that it is definitely worth continuing the conversation. I know for us, the majority of our implementations, I won't say the majority, but I know that there is a slightly higher percentage that comes through more general marketing. School picks up the phone, they call the 800 number or put in something, and it's not always alliance partnership. Now, when that happens and they're just sort of making a blind sale, we do try to see if there are lions in the area that would be willing to partner with them. But I like the idea, and I also think that another opportunity goes back to even as you guys are hosting workshops or things of that nature. If you're doing it through grant funds, one of the things that is asked is, can you share a testimonial? And I think this is something that we could definitely see a role for Lions in terms of we may not be able to go back 30 years, but definitely starting some new practices moving forward. I'm sorry, you all. I'm grandma too, so I've got to pour the milk. But starting a practice going forward where even as part of your presence in a workshop, offering to host a teacher appreciation, or and a lot of times that may look like a nice certificate that teachers get, or offering to collect testimonials and have them to come and speak. One of the things that we did here, and it's still kind of a work in progress, is that in working with a school district that is doing some phenomenal work, actually working with some of the administrators and the professionals that they've worked with to actually put together some additional professional development topics that could go back into the schools, so that not only are the Lions Quest teachers understanding how to use SEL, but what about the math teacher? What about the science teacher? Are they also understanding how to have these conversations and make these connections in their classes? So that's a very long answer to tell you that yes, I think that that's a very interesting approach to explore, and we'll probably explore it. That's the unofficial answer.
Hello, Kimberly.
Well, hello there, sir. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm Ronald Coleman from District 11A1 in Michigan.
Oh, hello there.
Yep, I'm a PDG from a long time ago, 98, 99.
Okay.
And I was very active with the Lions Quest program in the 2000s. I think I sent you an email. I sent you a message that had that information on it. And I'm trying to get back into Lions Quest now, and I'll probably be trying to train someone to take over that position, because for the last 3 or 4 years I've been real active in diabetes, and
Okay.
so this year, most recently in the past year or so, we've been collaborating with the National Kidney Foundation of Michigan to put on some workshops, and I've been really exhausted in taking care of that. So I want to get back to Lions Quest, because we in our district we did have a very successful program. I think I think Mike Bashimi had your position back then,
Ah,
and Dr. Kenneth Frazier and his wife Benita were two of the trainers.
okay.
And I don't know if you know either one of them, but they've kind of slipped away. So what I wanted to ask you was about the trainers right now for programs, because our program was pretty big. We won a pretty large grant back then, and one of our community um, collaborators was Detroit Health Department Bureau of Substance Abuse.
Oh,
So we must have trained during the time of our grant, which was about $250,000.
mm-hmm.
We trained over 500 teachers for the city of Detroit. So we were very successful back then, and now I'm trying to work myself back into that mode and train somebody else to carry it forward. So I've been listening to all the information. I had trouble on my laptop, that's why I kept going in and out. So I'm on my cell phone now, and that was the best way I could get to you.
Okay.
So I'm still listening and learning, and I'll be looking more. I looked at some of the grants that were available now, the smaller ones that were continuation grants, somewhat, for that larger one that we had before.
Okay.
So I'll be looking forward to communicating with you. And I think this group, as someone said, I think Mr. Vinette, Lion Vinette, I think he said that this is one way to cross the borders.
Yes.
So let's keep it going, and I'll be here for the next installment of this program.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Detroit, the Detroit, the Michigan, Detroit area, you know, has, we, speaking of the, sort of not only keeping our alumni teachers, but also how do we keep our Quest chairs engaged? And kind of to that point, you know, being able to sustain the work that we do, even when the position changes and things of that nature, because we understand that sometimes it may take 2 to 3 years to build the relationship to get the program across the threshold, right?
Right.
And so, I think it just, I've been a volunteer a long time, and I understand that we do volunteer, but we do want to work ourselves out of a job at some point, but we don't
Yep.
want to let it fall apart.
Right.
And I think even to continue to have these conversations and to consider how do we make the work that we do not only sustainable within our roles as Lions and that we're able to pass the torch, but I think even in a bigger picture, how do we help the schools that we provide the initial resources to? How do we help them sustain? And I know you mentioned that you done some work with the Department of Health and Bureau of Substance Abuse. Well, how many people know that we have a national partnership with the DEA?
That I didn't know.
So,
Yep, that's good.
so we have a national partnership through LCIF with the DEA. They have a program called DEA 360. And with DEA 360, they are looking at communities that have been hardest hit by the opioid crisis. And so we partner with them to go in to mobilize Lions and other national partners such as Young Marines, Boys and Girls Club. The DEA has their own foundation. Partnership for Drug-Free Kids. The Elks is a partner in this whole piece. And so what we've been doing, and this has kind of been over East, and a lot in the East Coast, because we really had a great relationship with the Philadelphia division. And so they will partner with you all they'll come to your clubs, they'll talk about drug prevention, which of course Lions Quest is a bona fide drug prevention program. And that's a
Yes.
conversation that sometimes if people aren't able to receive the information on the educational support that it offers, talking about it in the context of drug prevention can sometimes ring a person's ears. And there's a lot of drug prevention money out there. There are drug prevention coalitions, and a lot of times those coalitions are funded either directly through the state or federal, or they come through a health department. And what we found is that those staff members are very well prepared and trained to go into a school and do Lions Quest.
Good.
You know, and I'll tell you, it's a job that I did for many years. And the school can sometimes look at things a different way if they don't have to put the burden on their teachers. And there's someone that can come in and actually facilitate the lessons that is a
Yeah, that's
trained healthcare, a health educator, and someone who understands all of the things and has a very comparable set of training to a classroom teacher. So that's a something else to consider. But we've done some work like that. We're actually getting ready to study that as a model out of Delaware. So that's just a couple of things to kind of keep you upgraded on. And today is Rick Little's birthday, the founder. Oh, look at that. Nice. So I know that I kind of planned for us to talk for an hour, but I went ahead and scheduled it for 2 because I know how we are when we get to talking, and especially if it's about something that we're all very passionate about. And I know we've had quite a few people that have had to leave. And so I definitely appreciate you guys chiming in. It's been good for me to put eyes on some of the names off the spreadsheet and from the email. So I really appreciate that. A couple of questions that I wanted to make sure that we touched bases on was just to kind of just curious. Has anyone ever done Lions Quest in collaboration with other youth programs from LCI or LCIF, like Peace Poster or Leo's clubs?
I'll jump in. Some of our Canadians have gone, I think, but a really neat one that we had happen in a couple of areas is the Lions were going into the schools to do vision screening.
Okay.
So they put together an information package for the school administrators and dropped it off with the administrator when they were in doing vision screening.
Okay. Yeah, I know usually when I go places and talk to folks, they're like, the eyeglass people, you all have a youth program too? Yeah. So that's a good one. Okay. Has anybody ever, just in your role as a Lions Quest chair, have you ever recommended to a school like, hey, you're doing Lions Quest, maybe you should also think about a Leo club or come back with a peace poster contest as sort of a youth package? Just curious. Has anyone ever seen the youth program brochure?
What is the name of it?
It is, we have a youth program brochure, and it has a snippet about the Peace Poster Contest, Leo clubs, and Lions Quest.
Nope. I'd like to see that one.
Okay.
So we had quite a few districts for a while, and it's kind of gone by the wayside now. But I'll use my own district because I actually served in the chair of this role for the district, was Youth Opportunities, and they tried to coordinate all of the youth programs. So the Leo chair, and we still do it at the multiple district level in multiple district A. The Leo chair, the Youth Exchange chair, the Peace Poster chair, the Effective Speaking chair, are all together under one Youth Opportunities so that they share ideas and coordinate. Lions Quest was pulled out of that group because it's a huge project in and of itself. But in some districts, they still had that where it was trying to be a coordinating factor to limited success. I will say there was limited success, but they at least try and share information if nothing else. So you don't have 4 lions knocking on the school district door saying, we want to do this, we want to do this, but they kind of do it coordinated with, I would say, limited success.
I would be very interested in maybe not till, not tonight, but I would be really interested to hear more about that.
We can talk.
Okay. I mean, because I would want to learn more about that. It's just very interesting. And I think even as we look on our end from staff and trying to better collaborate with colleagues in the building, and looking more across LCI and LCIF to see how we can really sort of combine our efforts to reinforce the support that we're giving to Lions on a whole. So I think those would be some really interesting lessons, Joanne, to share. And I think that even from the feedback that you guys have given from Canada, it seems to. I know that there were a lot of U.S. people that were like, that's quite interesting." So I definitely think that. I definitely would like to see us all come together again in the near future. Another quick question, and maybe this is kind of a quick question. So I know we kind of talked about people that have had grants, they're thinking about getting grants, and just if there were any particular challenges that you all had, or any things, if you've had a grant, any things that you might want to see covered in future Lions Quest grants that may not be covered now.
Well, one thing I could say that probably one of the biggest things is having a collaborating with a community entity, and even DEA is one that you mentioned. That's a very good collaboration. We had collaborated. Well, I'm a pharmacist. So I was the pharmacy director at the Detroit Health Department. So I had a very close relationship with the director of the Bureau of Substance Abuse, because from about from mid 70s to probably early 90s, we provided all the methadone for the city of Detroit. So I was very well connected with the Bureau of Substance Abuse, because we're the ones that manufactured all the methadone for the entire city.
Wow.
And so that type of connection. And right now, there's a program called it's Detroit Recovery. Now that's a program for returning citizens, and that's one community organization that I could probably easily collaborate with at this time, because they do have the people that you're speaking about, the counselors, that could go out into the schools rather than the schools having to use all of their teachers to provide information.
Yes.
So that's a good collaboration there. So for the folks that are here on this meeting right now, I would suggest you taking a look around your communities and look at those drug rehab programs and the returning citizens programs as great collaborators for our Lions Quest program.
Hmm. And see, I used to work at a methadone clinic, and that was sort of, we were the prevention arm, and so we had
Yep.
the treatment, and then we had the piece where we were saying we wanted to prevent children from going down that pathway. um uh Lions Quest um has been gaining a lot of popularity within the field of drug prevention. We usually have a table at one of the largest drug prevention conferences, which is CACA, Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. It comes out, well, of course, everything's virtual now, but this particular conference was in the DC area every year in February. I've presented twice at the conference on Lions Quest and its role in substance abuse prevention. And that's actually how we picked up the DEA partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Through the partnership, we've been in Florida. I did some work with the Hillsborough County Juvenile Justice Department, which is Tampa. They have a program called Civil Citations, where instead of, giving kids criminal records, we went down and we trained all of the agencies that take referrals. So basically, the schools write the kids tickets because for whatever reason, no felonies, no murders or anything super crazy. But instead of the kids going and getting a juvenile record, they send them to a after school program. So what we did was we went down and trained all the after school programs. So now the kids were coming to do Lions Quest as an alternative to sentencing. And so, I think that even if it may not have been, the type of conversation 7 or 8 months ago to look at some of these entities outside of the school system, I think that the silver lining is that people may not recognize Lions Quest as a brand, but they are definitely aware of the need of social and emotional learning. And I think that, this is an opportunity for us to kind of regroup and re energize and really kind of see what we need to do to expand that footprint and get back into some of these communities where maybe at one time we were very active, and maybe the landscape has changed or maybe the community has changed. And so I see that Lion Joanne has got to leave, and I think I see that thank you for your thank you so much, Joanne. You added so much to the conversation. I'm so glad that you could join us. And so I can do this because I think that the common consensus is that we definitely want to do this again, right?
Yes.
I can definitely tell that there are a ton of resources that may not have filtered down, um, and I think that you know maybe it's just a divine intervention that Ariel moved, and now Kim is in the other part of the world, and I get to pick up this because there were quite a few things that her and I were working on to kind of prepare us for a time such as this. We didn't know that COVID was going to happen, but in terms of being able to provide you all as our Quest chairs and champions what you need. So what I can do, I'm going to have another group that I'm probably going to meet with early next week and start to kind of try to get to everybody. And so I know there's only a few of us on the line, but I'm just curious if you guys think that doing something like this monthly is too much. maybe every other month or quarterly? James,
Every other month for me.
okay. And I saw you mouth something, Lion James, but you didn't come off of mute.
Yes, I think quarterly would be
Okay.
great. There's so many other meetings to handle too.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Lion Martin and Lion Hyatt, Lion Carol, Lion Marie.
Yes. Well, thank you, Kim. You did an awesome job. I had to be in and out because I have my two cyber, but I was listening. You said you recorded it, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I was just
Awesome.
curious if you had a preference to monthly, bi-monthly, or
It's
quarterly.
monthly. Monthly.
Okay.
Hi, it's Carol here. Hi, I'm from C1.
Oh, hello,
And I
Lion
think
Carol.
this is amazing. It's so lovely to meet you. This is really nice. And I think if we have these meetings and we can share ideas with our American friends, I think that is so amazing because everyone has sort of demographics that are a little bit different, and we need, if we can just join in and share good ideas, I think that's just amazing. I love everything about this meeting today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was kind of nervous. I said, I don't have any protocol to offer. But I appreciate you guys are awesome, and I appreciate you being so open and and sharing your thoughts. So I'm kind of erring on the quarterly side. I think coming together quarterly, face to face, I definitely want to try to move up, at least kind of giving you guys updates monthly. So one of the things that you can look out for is we do have a process here at LCIF, whereas we can send out, we do have a listserv. Now, how up to date and how well vetted that listserv is, are we getting all of the people that we need to get to? I think is something that time will tell. I would love to kind of keep you guys as maybe like an informal cohort on just people that I can sort of email directly to say, hey, there's something coming out, LCIF or LCI, whether it's on Facebook or other things like that, that you guys can kind of help make sure that you're making sure the people in your corresponding districts are getting what is needed. I may send out another survey. I think that there is probably the opportunity to offer an updated and relevant new Quest Chair training to maybe look at how can we get all of these resources to you all so that you have at least everything that's in our toolkit in your toolkit, because we've got resources that are around building relationships with schools. We have an assessment piece that's about how do you have the conversation when the school says, oh, we're doing so much, and it's almost like a guided conversation checklist. We have resources that can be offered to the schools to help them measure some of these changes that Lions Quest promotes that are outside of the classroom, such as school climate and culture. We are working on a very specific drug prevention model, which is fewer lessons. That has to go through the pilot stage. So, and then a lot of times, when we have opportunities such as the DEA partnership, we're always looking to connect Lions that are engaged in Lions Quest in these partnerships, where even sometimes we can support it beyond the grants. I support a lot of programs before coming here just because it was an opportunity to develop or study things, and we would, support, curriculum materials and a lot of things that aren't already covered in a grant. So we're always looking for opportunities like that. So even if you guys take advantage of you know, sending updates to us, you know, outside of the grant report, just to say, hey, this is something that we have going on, or this is something that we think is a potential to happen. I'm pretty responsive, so I can kind of shoot a quick email back and maybe give a couple of pointers, or maybe it's something that we may want to set aside some time and kind of look at a little bit more deeply. So I'm a resource to you. And so, you know, my email is the one, except for maybe my Canadian folks. I think that Joanne sent out those emails. What I'm going to do right now before we kind of close out, so I'm going to actually just throw my email address into the chat box. So if you guys want to shoot me an email, and then even if you contact the people on the website and say, hey, I'm looking for Kim H, it'll get to me. So we've got about 15 minutes left in our time. If anyone wants to close and say any parting words, I can give you at least 15 minutes back of your day. I know for me, this has been really great. I'm really excited about where this is going.
I love your passion, Kim, and you know your commitment. So we back you up. So thank you. Appreciate.
Thank you so much, Lion Hyatt. And I see Lion Emmy says she was excited. Listen to everyone. Lion Martin says have a great day. So you guys, like I said, email me. I will kind of send out maybe a tentative schedule that'll have a mix of some in-person gatherings, as well as a tentative schedule for when you guys can expect some updates. And I'm also going to put together maybe a list of resources that you all may or may not be aware of, maybe a summary. So that way we can kind of get everybody on the same page about what resources you actually have access to here. And if you need something and you don't know if we have it, call in that.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks, Kimberly.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.